Okay. Hey, guys, it's Tim Gillette and the Tim Gillette Show, and I'm here with another one of our guests on our 100 Interviews in 30 Days, a series that I'm running because, like you, I'm stuck at home. And I figured, why not get to know some people and do some virtual networking, but as I teach people, create content while doing it. So today is that just another one of them that I get to know and find out. Now, I met Steve through an event I was part of last weekend, and really, I don't know a lot about him. I'm going to find out on camera today. And we're going to find out how he is actually helping people, just like you and I are helping people. And I think he's got a very interesting story when I did a little research on him. All right. And I'm waiting to find out a lot more about it. So let me, without waiting and playing games, I'm going to bring him on live, and we're just going to have fun today. Mr. Dr. Steve Greene, how are you?
I'm excited to be here, Tim. I'm good. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Trying to stay positive. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, staying positive. We can start that off. That's a great place to start. All right. Staying positive. All right. Normally, are you a positive person, or are you having to push yourself to be positive in this time?
No, I think I am, because I work with people all day who are not.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be twice as strong. Your message has to be twice as strong as you want them to hear, right?
Yes.
So, because if you're like, they're like,
mm-hmm.
So, you got to be rampant. You got to be 2 levels up. Listen, in life every day, if you want, you can find something to depress you, right?
Yes.
Make you happy. What's the point? I mean,
there's always something that could put you down. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of my mantras in life is I don't watch the news, and it's not because I'm not interested in what's going on. It's just so depressing. I don't need to hear about another murder or another death or whatever. It isn't to say I don't care or I don't want to be informed. I just, I don't need that external, negativity. So try to control our environment, but look, as you did in the lead in, there's a lot of issues right now. No point denying them. People are under challenges. Where I live, I'm in Pennsylvania. We were the first county in the state to get locked down. We've been on lockdown almost 3 weeks here.
Okay. Which county are you in?
It's called Montgomery County.
I'm familiar with it.
Didn't you say you were from Philly or Jersey?
Actually, I was born in Scranton. I graduated from Souderton High School.
Souderton, okay. Well,
yeah. My daughter lives in Green Lake.
Not the Bears. I'll think. Memory. I'll think before the end of the show.
I'm having to think of what was Souderton's. I'm gonna have to think of it myself. It's been 35 years.
I got a buddy he's a lacrosse coach at there. He's upset because they canceled the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're in our league. I'm in Upper Dublin. They're they're like our league. But
I know the area.
So we're I hate to put it this way, ahead of the curve in terms of the reaction. Say they're only letting a certain number of people in the supermarkets, and there's chalk lines on the ground to stay that far apart from people. It's for real here, and has been for some time. It's like most people. I'm at home. I mean, fortunately, I'm used to working at home, but a lot of people aren't. And they're trying to adjust. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the education space, so a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't changed. It's very weird. But I think right now, I think I love what you're doing, because I think what people need right now is guidance.
Yeah.
I think people need, and I don't mean it in a dogmatic, authoritarian way. I think people are searching.
I think what you mean to say, Steve, is they need leadership, and you and I have been in the education fields for years. We're standing up and trying to lead right now.
I'm trying personally. I'm trying to do it by giving people solutions and giving them action plans. That's my mission statement on my podcast and my thing. I spent from noon to 12:45 today doing my twice a week live presentation, which. If I can plug it, it's called Structure in the Chaos. We're now up to version 2 because I've been doing this so long, I've modified it. But it's all about giving people actions, what to do. And I'm not saying I have all the answers any more than anybody else, but I'm basing it on experience, basing it on what I think and I know works over time.
And this is one of the reasons, Steve, I'm doing the interviews is because I always am trying to find the next level for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm going to help my clients to a certain spot, and then I want them to go further, and I'm going to then pass the baton off and say, okay, listen, your next level is going over here and working with this guy. And that's what I'm always doing. So I'm interviewing people to find out who, because I really am looking out for the interest of my clients. I want to get them to a certain spot, knowing what I've gone through. I don't know everything either. Maybe, you just said, but I know that I'm going to get them to a certain area, and then I want to know who to pass them off to. Here, go see Steve. He's going to help you with. Then that's exactly it. So I don't know if you do that with your podcast or not. But
I do to a degree. What happens with me is one of two things. I mean, my business is education. I'm working with 8th graders, 6th graders, 12th graders. So on one level, they just age out. Eventually they graduate and they move on, and frankly, they don't need me anymore, but hopefully they're happy that I gave them guidance to get where they got. A win for me, in a sense, is kind of working myself out of business. So if a kid comes to me and is failing math or struggling with whatever, getting poor SAT scores, whatever it is, and I get them to the point where they don't need me anymore because they hit the level of success they needed, I'm done. That's a win. It's not a win in terms of building business, but it's a win in terms of the goals. The other side of it is, I believe everybody needs to be independent. It's interesting because you mentioned the indie thing we were both on last week. And I don't want to digress, but a lot of that was all about technique, right? How do you record? How do you edit? How do you make a message? I think it's really important. And I know it's hard nobody wants to be the Renaissance person. But I think it's really important. You got to be able to cover your own bases, right? You can't always rely on other people to do other things for you, at least in my view. I'm not uncomfortable with it, but I'm not super technical. I don't know how to work all these fancy editing softwares. And if people see my podcast on video or listen to it, it's not perfect. It's not pristine sound, and it's not television production video. And I'm completely comfortable with that because I know what I'm capable of, but I'm also not relying on other people to do it for me. And I spend a lot of time teaching myself and reaching out and trying to figure out how to do it independently because you never know, right? So I think that's just an important way to go through life, right? If the more you rely on others, and I'm not talking about emotionally, I'm talking about structurally in your business, the more dependent are when the things get broken, right?
Yeah.
So like if you had to go to see somebody today and you couldn't, what's your fallback? What's your plan B? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's better to be pretty good at a lot of things or super, super good at one thing and have no knowledge of the rest. I don't know. I'll let somebody else debate that. But yeah, I ask myself that question a lot. Am I doing my best to help my people? I mean, look, I'm in a for-profit gig. I'm not doing it for free. Not, it's not a pro bono situation. So I have a responsibility that way. But it's, it's some of it's just being smart, being prepared. After we get done, I'm tutoring a kid in math. I'm going to spend 10 minutes going through that math on my own and make sure I'm 100% on it. It's not their job to pay me to review while I'm working with them. Afterward, I always follow up, next day, hey, do you still got it? Were you able to keep going with it? So, some of this is just making people know you care. That gets lost sometimes, in the search for the eternal dollar. But, it is what it is. So.
Well, let me ask this. I mean, Steve, you know what I mean? We're at where we're at today, and I mean, I can see where you're at today. Was there a history? Is there a story that got you here?
How long you want? What time are we done here, Tim?
We've got 45 minutes.
Okay, all right. So I'll give you the 3.75 minute version. Yeah. I always, in my life, except for about a 6-month period, wanted to be a teacher. It just always appealed to me. My mother was a teacher. My father was a college professor. I grew up in a household where it was the vibe. We'd eat dinner. My mom would grade papers. My dad would sit down, doing his thing. My sister ended up becoming a college professor at a college in New Jersey. My brother's a law professor. So either consciously or unconsciously, that's just how it worked. I like everything else. I thought about other things. But I think it wasn't necessarily because I wanted to stand up in front of a classroom and take attendance and do all the protocol that teachers do. It's because I wanted to help people, and I felt like I had a gift for doing that. So I went through all the mechanics of that, getting the certification and the things like this. But like all things, you don't really learn how to do it until you're doing it. It's a lot of on-the-job stuff, right? You can go to college, you can go to grad school. I mean, I did all that, but until I was really in front of a room of 28, whatever, 50 kids, having to actually make sure that my message was getting across, it was a very different, different reality. All the theory on lesson planning, all the theory in classroom management doesn't necessarily get you through that. But things morphed a lot, and things changed around me. I had a pretty good gig for a time, Rutgers, and it got cut out from under me because they got a new governor and they reallocated funding. And that's when I started private tutoring. So it happened almost the same time my first child was born. I've been tutoring 24 years. He's 23. But it was a way that I could accomplish, kind of get that same rush. I don't know if that's really the right word, but kind of fulfill that need I had to help people in the same way, but not but in a private setting, less than an institutional setting. So I've done other things. Education is very broad. I mean, my main thing is schools, academics, but I've also worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. I've worked with a lot of companies. I've worked with a lot of law firms. Because anytime people need to learn things, the trick, and you're the marketing more guy, but the trick is you got to teach it to them on a level they can understand.
Yes.
And you got to teach it at a pace they can understand.
Yes.
And you got to teach it to them that you could connect idea A to B to C in a way that they can understand.
Yeah.
Anybody can read a book, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. So, these are the things I learned along the way. And, like everything, I wish I knew 20 years ago what I knew now, because I would have been better at it when I launched. But that's really the story of at least what I do.
How you got there? Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't, listen, I didn't wake up one day and say, gee, I want to be a full-time private educator, or I want to be a full-time mentor to people. And I look back, it's never a straight line, but it's fulfilling. Listen, it's like the old saying, if you love your job, you never go to work. And I do. I don't have any regrets. I enjoy most of the time working with people I work with. You get a few people a little needy, a little demanding, but bottom line is this is a good balance for me. So
well, Steve, I mean, you're in a teaching field.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is a question to ask you: has you, if you've gone through all this and you transitioned this way, is there a mentor, someone who kind of gave you the maybe a word of advice or something?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of went, I like that.
It's a great question. Great question, Tim. Yes, and in both directions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you two stories real quick. I had when I first, it's like my third job, but like my first week, I had gone into a new position and they had a mentoring program. They paired you up with an experienced teacher. Mm-hmm. And we had to go through this 4-week kind of mentoring program. This guy named was Tony Evangelista, who's a professor at Trenton State College, which is not even called that anymore. I think it's called the College of New Jersey or something like that. It's in Trenton or Ewing, New Jersey. Shout out to Ewing. Yeah. Anyway, we got into, and it was a one-on-one thing. And we were supposed to meet an hour a week for 4 weeks, and he would observe my class, whatever. The point is, first time I met him, he said, listen, I know you're going to be a good teacher. I could just tell. But here's the only thing you really need to learn from me. And then you can just ask whatever you want for the next 3.5 weeks, because you got to make sure that the kids understand that you care. Mm-hmm. And he said, don't matter what you're teaching, math, history, English, French, health. If they believe you care about them, they'll listen to you and they'll follow you. And I never really forgot that. And he was, just a quiet kind of guy. He's one of those people, when you say something, he means it because you don't say that much. I've had a lot of, just being in situations where I had department heads and peers that I learned technique from, and I learned management things from, and I learned just sort of how to carry yourself and how to just do your job and be professional. I've also had a lot of mentors in the business world. Listen, anybody can, there's no gate to become a tutor. Anybody can say they're a tutor. You don't need credentials. You don't need anything. You just say,
in the coaching world, anybody can say I'm a coach. Trust me, I get it right.
Yeah, same thing. So, when I first started doing this, I listen, in my whole life, I never took a business class. I never took a management class. I never took an accounting class. So I had to find people that I trusted, that were going to kind of show me the way. And, nowadays, look, where do most of us get our business, or at least expand our branding? Social media, right? I'm not a young kid, right? I didn't grow up with,
computer savviness. Yeah, I didn't either. I had to figure it out.
Well, you and I both, and so it was, one of these things where I had to seek out help, So when the educator's trying to find education, you view it differently. Hey, listen, what are you going to teach me? What's your objective? As opposed to, hey, for $800, you will become the master at this. I'll tell you one other story, kind of almost in reverse. I had to do an assignment in I'm not going to mention it, but in a high-risk school district, and in New Jersey. And they sent me there, and I had an 8-week hitch there. It was part of a rotation when I was doing my doctoral part to get certified. And I walk in, and the guy who was supposed to be my mentor, I walk in, and he's sitting in his chair with his feet up on the desk reading the newspaper, and it was the sports page. And it was a Monday, I'll never forget, because the headline was something like Giants lose to, I think, the Redskins. Doesn't matter. The point was, it was football season. And I'm like, hey, you Mr. XYZ, I'm here. I'm reporting for duty. He goes, sit down. He's flipping through the newspaper, really not even paying attention to me. Finally, he puts the paper down. He goes, listen, I know why you're here. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And here's what happened. He tells me, I'm retiring in June. I've been here 27 years, and I have accrued 312 sick days. I don't know why that number stuck in my head, 312. Because that's what happens in teaching. You don't use them, you carry them over. And what he did was he called out sick 3 straight days every week. Sometimes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Tuesday, Wednesday, because for 3 days, you don't need a note from a doctor. So he was basically calling out sick 60% of the time, sometimes more. Sometimes you do Monday, Tuesday, Friday. I didn't get one piece of guidance from him in 4 weeks. I had to search him out to get him to sign the paper to certify that I actually went through the program. So it was just, and that's the true story. And what stuck out with me from him was, it's so easy if you choose to, and you're able to just punch the clock, right? How many people are doing that? They go in, they do a mediocre job, if that. And I'm not singling out teachers. This is everywhere, right?
No, it's in every industry. I know that.
Everywhere, right? There's, hey, I got 8 years, 7 months, and 3 days left, and this is above my pay grade, and they ain't paying me enough to do that. And you know what it is, man? It's just it's a mindset, right? There was nothing preventing him on the day. Okay, fine. You want to use up your sick days, and FYI, he already got paid for them. It wasn't like he was losing the money. You get like 60%. You don't get all the money. It doesn't matter. But what would have held him back? Okay, you're sitting there, at least for the 3 hours we're here, let's try to do something productive. Okay, fine. You're here. You hate it. I get it. You're miserable. You ruined your life being a teacher here. You should give the money back. But for the 2 hours I'm here with you, can we at least do something?
Invest. Yeah. Can you invest in me for 2 hours?
The only thing he would talk about with me was football. He was a Giants fan. I was an Eagles fan. So of course we were like, oil and water that way. But
well, you do know, the Eagles fans are the most unique fans in the country. Right?
Yeah. Well, I grew up here, so
we have teams. All right.
Yep.
Our first favorite team is the Eagles. Our second favorite team is either who's playing Dallas or
who's playing the Cowboys. Yeah, that's right. Or the Redskins or the Giants. But at least I'm legit with that. I grew up here. I was born in South Jersey, so it's not like I'm a wannabe or somebody who lives in I don't know, wherever, New York, and is a Cowboys fan. But yeah, but anyway,
I'm an Eagles fan who lives in Dallas.
Oh, yeah, you better be careful on 2 days a year. There you go. Well, it is what it is. But my point was that it's, if you think of those two stories I just related, complete opposite ends of the spectrum. One guy gave me advice I never forgot. I never, even to this day, think about. And the other guy, in a sense, taught me the same lesson in reverse.
He influenced you to I don't want to be that.
Exactly. If this is what I'm going to be in 20 years, if I take a job like he's got, I don't want it. I want out now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make money any place. I don't need it. For the money they're paying you, I can go do anything. I don't want to be miserable like this guy for 26 years, sitting at a desk in a dark room, just complaining to whoever's going to listen to him.
Yeah. I mean, and that's it. You've got to find there's got to be some sort of joy to what you do. And if you don't have it, you don't belong there.
Yeah. I get it. We got to pay bills, right? I mean, forget the environment out there. Everybody's got bills. Mm-hmm. So you need income. I mean, that's just the reality of our society. But, chasing your passion is so important. And it's hard. Not everybody finds it. I understand that. But that doesn't mean, shouldn't give up. Yeah. I don't care how old you are. Listen, I'll tell you a story quick. I was supposed to leave tomorrow. Next Wednesday, the 8th, is my 25th anniversary. Okay. Same woman, 25 years. And her bucket list, number one on her bucket list, was, do you want to go to Galapagos Islands? Okay. And I gotta be honest with you, I was into it, but it was maybe like 5th on my list. So we had a trip booked for over a year. Got canceled 3 weeks ago because of what's going on, right? We were supposed to get on a plane, I don't know, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning to go. So just in the cruelty of the irony of the situation, 2 days ago in the mail, I got a big folder from the cruise company with with our trip information, the little sticky things to put on the suitcases. They'll eventually reschedule it and we'll get there. But my point is, you can plan as big as you want, right? And as grandiose as you want. And it's just not always going to work out. It's reality. And what am I going to do? Go into depression for 3 weeks about it. I mean, it is what it is. And, kind of saw it coming, but we didn't know. So she's dealing with it too. But all these things are kind of coming back to the same idea, which is you got to find something that's going to drive you, right? Yes. And I think the longer you do something, either that accelerates and gets bigger and bigger and spirals in a positive way, or the downside of it is you get deeper and deeper in a hole and it's harder to dig out of it. And I see people in both extremes. I got friends who are attorneys. They're the most miserable people. And I'm not saying attorneys are miserable people. I'm saying that's their job and they can't stand going to their office and they, it's like, for all the money they're paying me, and their guys are making some nice bank. But, it's like, it makes it, they got high blood pressure. They got, overweight. I mean, they're not healthy mentally or physically. So, I don't know. I don't want to get too spiritual on you, but I think, listen, I think we can both agree. Everybody's got to have a balance, right? Yeah.
So Steve, it's interesting. You pointed out those two people who've kind of influenced you. Have you influenced somebody that, because now you're flipping it because you're trying to influence people. Have you influenced one of your students or one of your customers, all right, in a way that you know that you're going to impact their life, that they'll be talking about you in 20 years?
Well, I know the answer to that is yes. Just for no other reason on sheer volume.
Do you have one that stands out? I guess
I'll tell you. Listen, I'll tell you. I was over Christmas break. I'm at our local supermarket, and I've lived here 20 plus years. And I'm in line and waiting to check out. There's a kid behind me. He's looking familiar. I'm like, should I say something? Because it's just stupid. Like, you look familiar, but it wasn't a bar. It wasn't like a pickup line. But and then he says, aren't you Steve? I said, yeah. This kid I had tutored in biology in 9th grade and for SATs in 11th grade, maybe into 12th a little bit. Well, he's 32 now. He is a neurosurgical resident or no, just graduated from a neurosurgical residency in somewhere in Atlanta. I don't remember the details. And he says, I remember working with you. So he's been through all high school, all college, all medical school, however long this residency and post-residency is. Just, random 2 ships in the night coming together thing. And, he remembered working with me. So I don't know that, it was.
You don't know the involvement of what impact you had, but you had an impact.
I think just the fact that people appreciate what you do is enough. I think there's people out there that I know there's people out there that would failed classes and gotten horrible grades if I hadn't helped them. But that's a Band-Aid, that's not really changing their life. Long term, because this is like, I'm in the teaching of the fish versus giving them the fish world. Right. That's the same with you, right? That's the business we're in. I'm trying to teach people to fish. I'm trying to give them the tools. I'm trying to give them the mindset. I'm trying to give them the infrastructure, to be able to do it day in, week, month out. And I know there's a lot of people, and I see this because I have a community online. I have a membership community, and I see people in there, and I see their growth. And, it's interesting. I was just, in fact, one of the last kids I was able to meet with face-to-face before we got locked down they were supposed to have an SAT March 14th. Okay. We went into lockdown on the 11th. They closed all that. So this kid had been prepping since, she took the test in December, but been prepping all January, all February, half of March for this test. And I told her a little story. I said, you know what? You are so much stronger at this than you were when we started this. But you know what it's like? It's like if you have a baby or a kitten or something, and you're with it every day, you don't, obviously it grows, but you don't see that, whereas like I had this little nephew, and, I saw it was like 6 months old. We didn't go back. I didn't see him and my sister again for like a year and a half. Well, it was such a dramatic change from what I remembered. Right. So sometimes you got to look at the long throw.
Yeah.
You got to look at, hey, where was I yesterday to today? That's not going to be that significant generally, but where was I 2 months ago compared to today? Where was I 6 months ago compared to today? If I'm not growing, it's like the shark, if you're not moving, you're dying kind of thing. So I think it's a great question you asked me, because I think the answer is yes. And it makes me feel good. And of course, I think it's why we do these things. I think any educator would say that, any teacher. Listen, my mom taught 41 years, Tim, in the same building. Well, actually 2 buildings. So they built a new school while she was there. When she passed away at her funeral, because you're sitting in the front, and everybody's walking by you, and it's kind of uncomfortable. There were hundreds of people who she hadn't seen in 30 years. She was my first grade teacher. She taught me to read. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It was really touching. It's just, there's a separation, I think, between what I do and people like us do coaching kind of things, and people seeing the results sometimes. So we're not always there. We're kind of like there for the training and the grunt work and the, what do you call those things where you run back and forth on the basketball court and you got to touch the ground? Suicides. You ever have to do them when you're in gym class?
Yeah.
Ugh, hated them. Anyway, we're there for that stuff. We're there for the heavy lifting. We're not always there for the touchdown pass, or for the home run, or for the, the winning the swim meet, or, I'm using athletic,
which seems to be more, we seem to use more athletic stuff as teachers.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that, as an educator or as a coach, we're there for when people are struggling, but I may not be there when they graduate from college or when they get, 100 on a test after we've done work, but we've planted the seeds. We've created the environment internally to be able to have that kind of success. So it's, I did an exercise, and this may be something you might want to ask people down the road. I went to one of these online, what do you want to be written on your tombstone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like joking, like, super friendly guy, but I just want to be real simple. He helped people.
Yeah.
They can remember me for that. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So I like
Well,
animals
yeah,
too.
I
I
used
do a
to
lot
have
of
the
work with
question you
animals.
want to be remembered for, but you answered it before.
It's simple because it's a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a productive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it can be defined differently by everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think, like you're helping me, you're giving me exposure to other people, right? And I may be helping you by bringing a different voice. So, we're not sitting there saying, hey, we're not patting each other on the back how great we are, but you're providing a really cool service here. When you made that offer, man, I jumped on it 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great idea, and
Mhm.
I didn't know what it was going to be, and this has been really cool. So, but I think would be just a great, hopefully that's not going to happen soon, but hope, that would be something that I would be, happy about.
Mm.
I do a lot of work with animals too. I'm an animal lover, so I do a lot of animal rescue stuff, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah.
more cats than dogs.
That's an interesting habit. You cats, you said?
Well, you kind of can't do both in the same house, like in terms of fostering them and stuff. But yeah, I'm just an animal. If I wasn't remember I was saying I wanted to teach my whole life except for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
My plan B was to be a vet. And
So
because
I was never into animals, Steve.
really?
My kids are. My stepsons, and my daughter, they're into animals. They love them. My daughter always had a cat. I was not into it until I had met my wife. And when we moved here, her oldest son had too many pets when they were moving, so they asked us to take care of one cat. He's now my cat, and he's the one I have the blog about.
Yeah, they grow on you. They grow on. I used to say, I used to tell people I can't completely trust people who don't like animals
Mm-hmm.
or plants. If you looked at, you can't see it, but I have a ton of plants in my house, house plants. And, I think it's just good to surround yourself with living, thriving things.
Yes.
I don't like when the cat throws up on the floor.
So that is the one thing I gag at clean up. My wife's got to clean it up because I like if she's not home. Oh my God, it is so hard. I've got to keep an extra paper towel.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm going to almost throw up. It is that bad for me. But it doesn't stop me from loving the cat. All right, I get it. It's part of his world.
It's possible I got my office door shut, but usually the cat sleeps like right here. I'll tell you something too. Let me throw something out here. Unless you have anotof question.
Yeah, you go ahead, throw it out. I like making this an interesting show.
Let me tell you something cool, and I'll send you the link if you want. One of the things that really helped me. Okay, I was always naturally comfortable sort of speaking in front of a group of people when I felt comfortable with my material, right? Mm-hmm. But like if I was teaching a class on, I don't know, whatever, differential equations, whatever. But I wasn't super comfortable off script. And I'm not saying I read off a script, but if I knew what I was going to say next, I was great. And I really one of my goals was to be able to be more spontaneous. Mm-hmm. In terms of presenting, making it feel natural. So anyway, my wife and I are subscribers to this local theater company and in Ambler.
Okay. I got to know which one it is.
It's called Act Two.
Okay.
Act Two Playhouse.
Because there used to be a theater in Ambler that I went to back in high school in the 80s, but I don't think that was it.
Well, you're probably thinking of the Cabaret.
Probably. I think that's what it was.
It was like music. That was, they had one in Philly. They wanted in Ardmore. This is like a playhouse. They do plays. Anyway, we were randomly selected as subscribers of the month, 1 month. If you're a subscriber once a month, you get like free tickets or something. Well, we already had tickets. So they said, is there anything else you want to do? So look, like they gave me this list, and it was on. A guy was teaching a stand-up comedy show, comedy class. Mm-hmm. Stand-up comedy. I think that's kind of cool. I'm not like a funny person, but so I called him up and I said, can I take the class and not really even want to learn comedy? Because no, you got to do it. Our graduations, you got to get on stage and do a set. So I figured out, I signed up because I wanted to be a better public speaker. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be more spontaneous. I wanted to be able to take an idea and sort of, as they say in comedy, riff off of it. And all along, I was saying to myself, you know what? I'm going to fake like I'm sick the night of the final. I'm going to make excuses. I'm not going to show up. But I'll tell you, in retrospect, it was one of the coolest things I've done in terms of personal development. Not in the sense of like my own personality, but just of increasing my ability to do things. And I think I do a lot of lives. On my own. I'm just presenting. I do my podcast live. I do my weekly presentations, my office hours live. That has helped me more than any book knowledge I ever had.
Wow.
And because what he taught me, this guy Mike Donovan, who I still keep in touch with, who actually was a teacher in a correctional facility for a while. Anyhow, what it taught me was how to take an idea and try to look at it from all these different angles instead of being unidimensional and saying, okay, I need to teach you X. So this is how you learn, this is how you learn, this is how you learn it. And I had to do it anyway within a learning style, because some people learn better listening or hearing or seeing, whatever. But the comedy end taught me how to do that more from a topical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you want to talk about cats. Well, cats are pets. Cats are furry. Cats throw up on the floor. Cats poop in the litter box if you're lucky. So you start to think of all the sort of differentiations and variations and permutations of what are going on. I'll send you the link if you want. They recorded the show when I did it. And I lost it, and I found it like 3 days ago. So, yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's like, your plan here? You're doing 100 of these. Are you on track to do 100?
I am. I actually just had 6 people booked this morning.
Oh, okay. Because I got some people I can refer to you who would be really good.
I think I gave the thing out for it. It's like timgillette.com/podcast interview.
Or something like that.
Yeah, and you can actually go through. I mean, it signs you up for a list, so you get emails and how to get on it and everything. So,
well, you might want. I don't know if you want to be like this much selective, but
I am.
The bar. I appreciate you bringing me on. The bar was very low. It's like a joke, I don't know if I want to be in a club.
Yeah, for this it is, Steve, because of the fact that basically I'm getting a chance to know a lot of people, and a lot of people are stuck at home for the first time, going, "Oh crap, what do I do?" Yeah. And I'm getting them comfortable. My business and my mission is getting people online, so that gives me a chance to get people interviewed. That's why I'm doing it. Normally, this show is done through a whole business cycle coming through my events, where basically they pay for the slot, and that money is then used for Facebook advertising to get people to come watch the show. And in this case, I'm not putting a couple $100 on Facebook advertising behind it afterwards. That's the only thing I'm not doing on this one. So, but I'm doing everything else like I normally would. I bring you on screen, find out who you are, because I say I interview the top business leaders in the country. So. Yeah. And
ever get to interview Tom Petty?
Did
you ever get to interview Tom Petty?
I didn't. I've never met Tom Petty personally. I actually seen Tom Petty play live one time in my life. If you remember, in 1985, Live Aid happened in Philadelphia.
Yes, it did.
The only time I've seen Tom Petty play live was at Live Aid.
I saw him at the Walnut Street Theater.
Yeah,
they had a concert there for about a year, and the place got so trashed they stopped doing it.
I was going to go to his 40th anniversary tour when it came through Dallas, and something else happened that I didn't book to go to get a ticket for that night, and I'm like, well, I'll just catch him next time, and next time doesn't happen now. So anyway,
yeah, well, no, the only reason I bring it up is because the not Tom Petty. I thought it was a great marketing angle.
It has been so.
There's some people that think I look like Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. I say buy Dustin Hoffman.
I should get I'm not DustinHoffman.com, but I always say I hope it's the graduate version of Dustin Hoffman, not the Meet the Fockers version.
Yes. So, Steve, you know what I mean? I've got this fun game I like to play at the end, but before I do that, I mean, tell everybody your website so they know it.
It is makethegrade.net. MAKETHEGRADE.net. That is your go-to source for all things academic. I've got all kinds of things on there, including links to my podcast, which I hope people might show an interest in. I'm actually recording one later this afternoon. Topic is time management in our troubled times.
Cool.
Get it? Time twice, different meaning.
Time, yeah.
Get it? Makethegrade.net. And not to be confused with makethegrade.com, which is actually a paving company.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's play a game. I'm ready.
So I've got this thing I like to play at the end of every one of my shows, Steve, where I call it this or that. And I've made some this or that questions for you.
Okay, I'm gonna
kind of based on a little bit about what I know about you, and some of it I kind of adapted along the way, realizing where you're from.
Okay, it's like truth or dare, kind of. What's that?
So I'm going to give you one choice or another. In some cases, all right, your choice spawns a different set of this or that. So I take and put in alternate questions to go past it. But
serious prepping for your guest stuff.
I try to prep. This is my prep.
I like it. I like it. Okay, I'm ready.
So first one off the thing is Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, come on.
But starting with episode 4.
Yes. Well, I think we all agree on that one.
Well, because that was the first one. I mean, that came out. I was a freshman in college. So, I grew. Hey, look who's on my desk with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He talks.
I love it.
The Force and its wisdom are all around us. And you will be
Yoda finally makes an appearance on my podcast.
There we go, Yoda. Here we go. Hey, hi, Tim. How you doing?
So the next one, I kind of usually ask in a certain way, but because I know where you're from, I'm going to ask it to two of them. I'm going to ask kind of around your way.
Okay.
I'm going to say is Jersey Shore or the Pocono Mountains?
I'm going to go Shore.
Uh-huh.
Although I don't like it on like a Saturday night because it's so crowded. I like the ocean.
Yeah. See, normally I say beach or mountains, but in your case, I kind of know.
Yeah, well, they're both an hour away. Although I will give it's a real close one because I like to mountain bike, and there's some really great mountain biking up there in the Poconos. So
yeah. So
that's
I grew
turf, man. Well, your Poconos, that's your turf.
It is. I grew up there, and I lived in Montgomery County, so it was like always a choice. Am I going to the mountains this weekend skiing, or am I going to the shore?
Yeah, we are. We have the nice thing where I live. We're about 80 minutes from either.
Yeah, yeah. So the next one here, coffee or tea?
Mint tea. I'm not a caffeine. Despite my ubulant personality here, I'm not a caffeine guy. It gives me headaches, so I like mint tea.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. Go ahead.
Let me do one more drink one. All right. How about beer or wine?
Definitely wine.
Wine?
Red wine. Yeah, red wine. Not white. Red only. Prefer a bold Cabernet.
Yeah.
I'll tell you offline. I'll give you some offline stories about that.
Yeah. But usually that puts the alternative question of red or white. So.
Rosso, as they say in Italy, or rouge, as they say in French.
Yeah. So let me go into some food. One.
Okay.
Hamburger or taco?
I'm going to say taco because I'm mostly a vegetarian, so I don't eat a lot of meat, which is tough around here because the best food around here is the meat. But let me go with like kind of a C, which is burritos. I love burritos. I could eat one of them every day. So
you're a vegetarian, so the Geno's or Pat's doesn't qualify for a question for you. Yeah.
Listen, every once in a while, don't tell anybody. Nobody's listening to this, right? I every once in a while, I have a chicken one. Quiet, yeah. Now I can go. They sort of the sort of alternative is the chicken cheesesteak, which is
actually the chicken cheesesteak. I like Pat's. The chicken cheesesteak's pretty good down at Pat's.
The big one now, the D'Alessandro. There's like 8 of them now. There's so many. Tony Luke. There's a lot of really good ones down there now.
Well, I just got with because I know that in Philadelphia, it's a
it'll divide families, man. Yeah. It'll divide families. Who's your favorite steak place?
Yep. How about fall or spring?
Spring. Although I like both. My birthday's in the end of the summer. I like the promise of the new leaves bubbling out and the bulbs bursting and the winter's over, fall, I always feel like, I'm going into that hibernation now.
Okay. So then I've got 2 fun ones that make next one can cause a war right now, but if you have it,
okay.
Toilet paper under or over?
Oh, I always have it so that it comes out in the front.
Okay. So that's the over. Yeah.
Like if this is hit, I don't know, like it's coming out at you as opposed to behind it. Oh, yeah. And that's one thing my wife and I are on the same page with. Okay. We actually had that discussion when we were dating a long time ago. But yeah, in the front. That's over then. Yeah. Yeah, we're on the same page there.
Cool.
Same paper.
So last one I have is boxers or briefs?
I'm going boxers. I sit a lot. I need space.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is today's this or that. Hey, one more time, Steve, tell them your website. All right.
It is makethegrade.net.
All right.
And makethegra.net.
Yep. So, all right, guys. Steve, hey, it's been a pleasure getting to know you here on air. All right. Thank you for coming by our show and telling us a little bit about you and about your business and who you are. I appreciate your stories. All right. You're a very impactful person, and that's the people we want on here.
Thank you, Tim. I think what you're doing is really cool. I mean, forget the 100 a day or whatever. Yeah. This is a cool initiative, but I like your message. I like your energy. It's one of the reasons I jumped to come on here. Mm-hmm. Keep the faith. Maybe we can work together again soon.
I hope we do. So
I need marketing help, man. So let's talk about it.
Cool.
I need brand. I need an agent. What I really need, I need an agent. That's what I need. All
right. Well, thank you, Steve. All right. For coming on the show today, guys. I'm going to close it out real quick. And, guys, this just shows is like I was telling Steve, this is a series. We're doing 100 shows in 30 days. All right. Because most people are stuck at home right now. My personal mission is to actually create 10,000 bloggers, and podcasters with an audience of 10,000 people and get them to make an income of $10,000 a month doing it. That is all that I do, and is my mission in life, why I have Blog and Video Con, why I have Simple Easy Marketing. And I hope this show has impacted you in some way to create your own content online. I'm Tim Gillette. I'll see you next time. Bye.